I suppose we'll get the question out right away. Last week, bit of a mush there, but gave you plenty of time to practice.
Yeah, a little bit of practice. It was definitely a bit of a shock, even the way I played for the first 2 rounds, and just thinking that I'd missed the cut. Just very careless in the score tent. Was already planning what I was going to do for the weekend, where I was going to practice, that sort of thing. So just a little careless and not taking the usual time to do my card like I normally would.
What's your thoughts on this course? You've been around this morning. A lot of the players have come in and said that they think that the driving is a key around here. Is that what you think?
Yeah, I think definitely. I think definitely driving's a key around here, but I think depending on if the greens get any faster or any firmer, I think your shot into the green's going to be important, because I think if the greens get faster, you're probably not going to want to be above the hole on some of the holes. So you don't really have to think about where you place the ball to give yourself the best opportunity to putt.
And just before I open it to the floor, I read an article about you were saying that golf needs more funding, and in the back we have a couple of juniors that are playing here. Can you just elaborate a little bit on that and what would happen, how the juniors need to get started and what kind of funding you were talking about?
Yeah, I think, I was just in an Olympic meeting and, talking to us about the Olympics in 2016, and I think when golf was announced in the Olympics, I think all around the world we thought governments would be giving golf more money now, more funding, and I think with the results, I think we shouldn't be saying, well, the men are doing this and the women are doing this. I think our results should be grouped together, because we're going to be a golf team as a part of the Australian team at the Olympics, and if I were to win a medal at the Olympics, I think it would impact funding for Golf Australia across the board. It wouldn't just impact women's golf. So I think, I'm not sure if the government's waiting to see if we produce any medals, but I think, what Adam Scott did last year reminded me a lot of what Greg Norman was doing when I was a little kid. And I don't think it necessarily means that young girls aren't inspired by a male, because that's what got me into golf and wanting to be a professional golfer, was that Greg Norman was the best thing on the planet when I was a young kid, and that inspired me to want to keep at the game and work at the game. So I think, that's why Adam Scott's success should be looked at a whole, and not just that's what the men are producing and this is what the women are producing. And I think some funding, obviously can go to the women. I think, I know Golf Australia has changed their system since I've been involved, and I think they're doing a great job, but I think there's there could be, if they had the money, that money should be spent on, younger kids. I think there's a gap between junior golf and state golf and then to the elite. I think there needs to be something in the middle where girls can aim to, once they've represented their state, it's a big jump to representing your country, and there's nothing in the middle. And I think, we need something in the middle, but we also need, someone out there identifying talent, some, kids that are 10, 11, 12 years old that, might play golf as a secondary sport and are really good at netball or something, but to encourage them to take the golf path rather than the netball path. And, it all takes money, and we've been very lucky with different benefactors and obviously the funding that we're getting, but I'd really like to see more, and I'd like to see more go to women's golf.
Great, thank you. Questions to the floor, please.
So, Karrie, you see a kind of a direct connection between less than ideal funding and a lack of top Australian players in the women's game at the moment?
Not necessarily, I guess. I think, I just think there is a difference between men and women as far as girls staying involved in sport in general. And I think they get to a certain age and, you know, if they're not encouraged the right way, they don't stay in sport. Where for guys, I think it's, you know, for most boys growing up, being involved in the sport is just a prerequisite to being a boy, and it's not necessarily that for a girl. And I think, you know, I think that's where it needs to be looked at, is trying to keep girls. I mean, I did a junior clinic up in Townsville in January, and I also saw a junior camp at another course in Townsville, and there was more girls there than boys, and I've never seen that before. And it's really encouraging, but you need them to stay in the game, even if they don't play professionally. Where, you know, even Golf Australia is lacking in funding is we just don't have members in clubs. And so you want girls and boys to continue playing golf, even if they don't make it a career, that they're members in clubs and paying their dues and all of that stuff. So, you know, I think that's something that needs to be concentrated on.
And what about at the top level of the game, once you've stayed in it and you've made it to that grade? Is there more that the governing body could be doing as far as helping people reach the higher echelons of the game and stay there?
I think they are doing a really good job. I think, you know, I think there's just different ways to handle women and men. I think, you know, and different ways of encouraging players to stay in the game. But what I'm saying is identifying the athletes at a younger age. You know, like a netball star that plays golf just on the weekends. You know, if we had funding to have someone out there that, you know, North Queensland Golf Association tells, you know, Golf Queensland that there's this young kid up here, come and take a look. And then, you know, you try and encourage that child to stay in golf, or take golf as number one and not netball or cricket or what have you. I think that's where you get the athletes at a younger age and keep them in golf and in that direction.
Just on the card issue from last weekend, is that, as such an experienced player, is that something, can you put it out of your mind straight away, or do you wake up a couple of nights later and think, oh, God, did I do that?
Yeah, I mean, hindsight's just a wonderful thing, isn't it? You can say, oh, if I'd have done this or if I'd have done that. So, yeah, I did. I was quite upset with myself and, you know, disappointed. I had a lot of family down and, you know, feel like I let them down a bit. But there's always a silver lining, and I got to spend a lot more time with my family over, and it's the last couple of days that I see them before I head back overseas. So it was good to be able to do that, but I would have also liked to have played a little bit.
Does it dent your confidence sort of on the course?
I don't think so. I probably feel a little more underdone than I would have if I'd played 4 rounds last week. But you know, that's just the way it is. And my preparation this week's gone quite well. So you know, I feel quite comfortable around here. And if I can just keep that sort of level up that I've had the last 2 days, you know, it should feel pretty good out there.
You said that you felt a bit shocked about the way that you played. How have you sort of evaluated that, and what have you put that down to? Anything in particular?
Well, it was just a bit scratchy from green to tee to green. Nothing was really great, but I did get a chance to probably do some practice that if I was still playing a tournament, I might not have worked on those things. You know, I've tried to nail those things down since Sunday, and you know, those are feeling pretty good. It's just, you know, once the gun goes off, whether they still feel as good as they have in practice.